Hello, my name is Li Qinyu. Today, I'm going to present my project for AUP397 Management Studies. My topic is about trust, support, and fearless in university, and how these factors affect international students' behavior. Most specifically, I'm looking at whether students feel supported and treated fairly, and how they can increase their student engagement, like joining activities, participating in class, and feeling more concerned to campus. Then, I explain how higher engagement can lead to organizational citizenship behavior, which means students are more willing to help others, cooperate, and contribute to the university even when it's not required. Overall, this study helps us understand how universities can create a better environment for international students to be more involved and positive. So, I will talking about the table of context for my presentation. First, I will start with the research background and the problem to explain why this topic matters. Then I will introduce the research objectives and the questions, so you know what I am trying to find out. After that, I will go through the literature review and hypotheses to show what previous studies see and what I explained in this study. Next, I will present the circle framework and research methodology. Then I will share the data analysis and key findings, followed by a short discussion and implications. Finally, I will end with the conclusion and recommendations. Thank you very much. Let me talk about the research background. Higher education is becoming more and more international. International students now make up a significant part of university communities worldwide. Universities rely on them not only for financial subscription ability, but also for academic diversity and cross-cultural interaction. Because of this, the role of international students has changed. They are no longer seen only as consumers of educational service. Instead, they are increasingly viewed as members of the university community who actively contribute to academic life, campus culture, and institutional development. In this context, university depends heavily on students' voluntary and intra-role behaviors. For example, helping classmates participating in campus activities or supporting a positive learning environment. These behaviors are referred to as student organizational citizenship behavior of SOCB. Although the actions are not formally required or graded, they are extremely important. They help international students integrate into the university, strengthen campus, and support overall institutional incentives. Now, let me talking about the research problem. Higher education has become increasingly international, with international students forming a growing and important part of university communities worldwide. Universities now rely heavily on international students not only for financial separation, but also for academic diversity and cross-cultural integration. As a result, the role of international students has shifted. They are no longer viewed solely as consumers of educational service, but as organizational members who actively contribute to the academic, social, and institutional environment of universities. Within the context, universities increasingly depend on students' voluntary and intra-role behaviors, such as helping peers, participating in campus activities, and supporting a positive learning climate. These behaviors are referred to as student organizational citizenship behavior (SOCB), and this is essential for fostering social integration, improving campus cohesion, and supporting institutional effectiveness. Now, let me talking about the research objectives. There are three research objectives. The first one is examine the efforts of trust, support, natural relationship, and academic justice on SOCB. This study aims to examine the efforts of key international and relational factors, namely trust in academic leaders, preserve university support student natures, relationship, and preserve academic justice. International students, student organizational citizenship behavior (SOCB). This objective seeks to identify which factors most strongly encourage students' voluntary and intra-role behaviors. The second is examine the efforts of these factors on student engagement. This study aims to investigate the efforts of these international and relational factors on student engagement. By doing so, this study explores how the university environment and academic relations influence international students' particularly involvement in learning and campus life. The third tests the median role of student engagement. This study aims to test the median role of student engagement in the relationship between institutional and relational factors and OCB. This objective seeks to explain the underlying mechanisms through which university-related factors shape international students' direct national behaviors. Now, let me talking about the research questions. There are three questions. The question one is, what factors influence international students' OCB? The first research question imposed which international and relational factors influence international students. Student organizational citizenship behavior (SOCB). Specifically, it examines the role of trust in academic leaders, perceive university support student natural relationship, and perceive academic justice in shaping students' voluntary and intra-role behaviors. The question 2 is how do distinct national and renational factors affect engagement? The second research question integrates how these international and renational factors affect student engagement. These questions focus on understanding how the university environment and academic interaction influence international students' physical involvement and anti-participation in learning and campus life. The question 2 is does student engagement mediate these relationships? The third research question examines whether student engagement mediates to the relationship between international and renational factors and SOCB. These questions aim to clearly the understanding mechanisms through which the university context influence international student organizational citizenship behavior. Let me talking about the key components. There are 6 key components. The first one is student organizational citizenship behavior, SOCB. Student organizational citizenship behavior, SOCB, refers to student voluntary and directory behaviors that go beyond formal academic requirements, such as helping peers, participating in campus activities, and contributing to a positive academic environment. The second is trust in academic leaders, represents student confidence in academic leaders' competence, integrity and fairness in decision-making, which influence students' willingness to cooperate and engage with the institution. The third is perceived university support, refers to student perceptions of how much the university values their contributions, cares about their academic and personal well-being. The fourth is students' natural relationship, describes the quality of interaction between students and natures, including communication, ability, and academic support, which plays a key role in students' learning experience. The fifth is perceived academic justice, refers to the students' perceptions of fairness academic process, including grading, assessment, produce, and academic decision-making. The sixth one is student engagement, response student frequently involvement and anti-participant enters and campus life, revealing their emotional congruity and in the university. Now, let me talking about the happiest developments. Derives efforts on student engagement, trust in academic leaders, student engagement. When students trust academic leaders, they feel safe and more confident, which encourage participation and commitment. Perceive university support, student engagement. When students feel valued and supported, they are more motivated and willing to invest efforts in learning and campus life. Student-nature relationship, student engagement, positive relationship with lecturers provide guidance and emotional support, increasing student involvement. The last one is perceived academic justice, student engagement, fair grading, and fair produce strengthen students' motivation and willingness to participate. Now, let me talking about the derives or efforts on SOCB. The trust to SOCB. Trust promotes respect, equality, and cooperation, increasing student willingness to help others and support the institutions. The support to SOCB. Students who feel supported and more likely to get back to voluntary behaviors benefit the university community. The student nature relationship to SOCB. There are strong relation ties can encourage students to take initiatives and contribute beyond the formal requirements. The academic justice to SOCB. Fair treatment strengthens interaction with the institution and encourage reciprocation professional actions. The student engagement to SOCB. Engaged students are more likely to participate, help peers, and show service involvement in university life. The last one is mitigating measures. Key contribute of the study. This is very important. Student engagement mediates the relationship between institutional, renational factors and SOCB. The figures show the circle figure of my study. Basically, how the variables are connected. In the left side, independent variables alternatives, trust in academic leaders. The second, perceived university support, the student natural relationship, and perceived academic justice. Middle, the mediator is student engagement. This means these factors are expected to influence how eligible international students feel. In the right side, dependent variable, the national citizenship behavior is OCB, shown in fly path. Three characteristics, constituent leaders, support membership, and CV venture. Overall idea, the 4 university-related factors affect the student engagement and higher engagement than needed to draw SOCB among the international students. The figure is help us to understand the important information about our research. Now let me talking about the research methodology. The study uses a critically cross-national research design in simple teams. It calculates data on time to examine the relationship among the key variables. For example, trust, support, student natural relationship, academic justice, student engagement, and SOCB. The second one is data collating and sample data over quality an online structured questionnaire. The survey was mainly distributed to international students studying in Malaysia, and most responses were Chinese students. The attended group included undergrad, postgraduate, and theoretical students aged 20 and above in total. The study operated 300 where questionnaires, which is enough for testing and mediation analysis. The third one is integral constitutions. Integral requirements were carefully followed. Participation was voluntary, response were animals, and participants were informed about the study purpose and content details before taking part. The first one is measurement and data analysis. All contrasts were used using like scale and, for example, levels of agreement. The data were analyzed using IBM SPS test, version 29, including disparity analysis, reasonability test, correlation analysis, and regression-based mediation analysis. Let me talking about the measurements of variables. This slide explains how the variables in my study were measured. I used the allocated military item scales, which means each concept was measured using the questionnaire item that can be used and tested in Paris research. Unless stated differently, all items were rated on 7.9 scale, where higher score means stronger agreement or higher frequency. The independent variables trust in academic leaders, how students see their later academic leaders in terms of fairness, integrity, reliability, and loyalty. The personal university supports how much students feel the university values recognize their contributions and cares about their academic and personal well-being. The student-nature relationship, the quality of academic guidance, communication, and emotional integration between students and lecturers. The perceived academic justice, whether students feel academic process and outcomes are fair, consistent, and not based. Let me talking about the mediating variable, the mediator. The student engagement or modulational concept that includes student conscious, international, and behavioral involvement in learning, like energy, instruct, continuance, pride, and being deeply involved in academic activities. The dependent variable device student organizational citizenship behavior SOCB, student variable in charge of behavior stance help the university environment, including archery, consistency, and constituents, sportsmanship, and civil virtue. Now, let me talking about the questionnaire design or data analysis. The question design, the questionnaire was organized into sections based on the study variables SOCB, trust in academic leaders, personal university support student-nature relationship, perceived academic justice, student engagement, and geographic information. The survey was administered online. Participation was voluntary, and all responses were animals, ensuring ethical standards and trustful reporting. And then I will talking about the data analysis and the procedures. The data analysis was conducted using IBM SPS standards. Prior to HSPOS testing, the data was screened for missing values and organized. The analysis include display standards to summarize response profiles. The reliability analysis using compressed AUP A bigger than 0.7, pattern comprehension analysis to examine relationship among the variables, multiple regression and regression-based mediation analysis to test the derived efforts and the mediating role of student engagement. And let me talking about the data analysis. For the data analysis, I used the IBM SPS as dentist. Before testing the hypothesis, I checked for the dentist for things like missing value and outliers. Then I ran a few main analyses. Descriptive standard to summarize the response profiles, reliability analysis, compare sample to make sure the scale were constant. Usually we look for A bigger than 0.7. Personal correlation to see the relationship between variables and multiple regression. Class mediation analysis to test both the derived efforts and the median role of student engagement. Let's see the response profile. The population is 300. The gender spread is very balanced overall. This slide shows that the sample is large enough, pretty gender balanced, and mainly responds Chinese international students studying in Malaysia, which matches the focus of my study. Let me talking about the key findings, regression and the results. Regression analysis feature confirms that the trust in academic leadership, Prestation university support, academic integrity, and student engagement all have significant positive impact on SOCB. This indicates that the international trust of supportive environment and the incredible academic practices directly encourage students participating in theory action. Furthermore, the significant impact of student engagement highlights its central role in translating positive institutional experience into actual behavior outcomes. In the left, you can see my reliability and connotation findings. And then let me talking about the discussion of writings and implications. The discussion of writings. The findings confirm that the international and regional factors plays a sacred role in shaping international student organizational citizenship behavior SOCB. Trust in academic leaders, Prestation university support, and academic justice all have significant positive efforts on students' engagement and voluntary behaviors. Among all predictor student engagement measures are the strongest predictor of SOCB, indicating that the engaged students are more willing to contribute beyond the formal academic requirements. Most important student engagement influence how international environments are trusted into citizenship behavior, acting as a physical leadership, liking trust, support, relationship, and fairness to SOCB. Then let me talking about the general political implications. The general implications, the study explain organizational citizen behavior SOCB zero to the context of international students, demonstrate the student like employers respond to international conditions through destinational behaviors. And by improving student engagement in meeting culture, the study provides a more in-depth expression of how international and regional factors influence SOCB in higher education. And the limitation of further research. The study sample mainly composed of Chinese international students, which may limit the generality of the findings. The cross-section research decided restrict cultural international of the relationship among variables. Further research could adopt complexity of non-cultural designs and include international students from diverse cultural background and middle destinations. At the national meeting can or motivating variables such as counterful reputation or academic stress may be imposed in fair trial studies. Let me talking about the limitation of further research. The study sample is merely composed of Chinese international students, which may limit the geography of the findings. The cross-sectional research design restrict cultural interpretation of the relation among the variables. The feature research could adopt complexity or long-term designs and include international students from diverse cultural backgrounds and multi-destinations. The national mediating or middle-rating variables, such as cultural depression or academic stress, may be explored in future studies. Let me take the research conclusion. The purpose integrated research model is expressionally exposed. Student engagement plays a pre-mediating role in linking international and regional factors to SOCB. The findings demonstrate that the international environment shape international students' valuatory and citizenship behavior by fostering engagement rather than through formal control law. Overall, the study highlighting the importance of creating inclusive, supportive, and engaging university environment to promote suitable international student participation. That's my oral presentation for my research. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening.